Earlier this week, a massive snowstorm covered much of the Corn Belt, and the snow was falling outside, and it got me thinking I just want to lay in my chair and read a good book. But where do you find a good book? Well, Max Armstrong has an answer for us.
Mike, we don't often do book reviews, but we made an exception in this instance because it's a very interesting book that I think many farmers and ranchers will want to see, and many consumers too. It's called Resetting the Table, Straight Talk about the food we grow and eat. Robert Paarlberg, the author, joins us here to talk about it. Robert, you are a farm policy, public food policy expert, are you not? That's your area of expertise.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing for my academic career and my consulting career.
You probably have been frustrated, as have many of us in and around agriculture, about all of the misconceptions out there. And it appears from your book, you just go right down the line one after another and take them on head on, exploding some of those myths that are out there. Give us number one on your list.
Well, out where I live in Massachusetts, not much is said in favor of modern agriculture. The word is that modern agriculture is responsible for our obesity crisis, for polluting our water, for accelerating climate change, for torturing animals, for shredding the fabric of rural society. It goes on and on and on. And I teach these subjects, and I know there's not a lot of good evidence in support of any of those accusations. So I got tired of listening to it and decided to just write a book about it.
Your argument in most instances, I gather, is science-based, correct?
Yeah, I stick to the evidence. Maybe it's because it's on my side. But you can, for example, organically grown foods, everyone assumes that everyone's been told that they're more nutritious and safer to eat than conventionally grown foods, but there's no good scientific evidence to support that. Everybody's told that genetically modified foods are unsafe, but if you look at what's been said by all of the science academies in the world, including in Europe, they say they can find no good evidence of any new risks to human health or the environment from any of the GMOs that have been put on the market so far. But of course, scientific evidence isn't enough to persuade people to change their mind. We've seen that time and time again.
Isn't part of the problem we don't necessarily believe science anymore? I mean, there seem to be so many people who question the science or don't buy into the scientific argument the way maybe our parents did all of those years ago.
Well, that's an interesting point because when it comes to COVID, progressive thinkers are saying we've got to follow the science. When it comes to climate change, progressive thinkers are saying we've got to follow the science. But when it comes to food and agriculture, they bail out and they embrace an ideal that is, I think, in many ways pre-modern and pre-scientific. They want farms to be small, non-specialized, local, chemical-free, organic. This is the way agriculture used to be before the scientific revolution of the 20th century. So people are very selective about the kind of science they embrace.
Some farmers and ranchers have carved very successful niches in some of these areas of misunderstanding. I think, for example, of local farming. I think, for example, of organic production. Some people are doing well there on the farm, aren't they?
Well, they are, and I'm all for that. I believe in multi-agriculturalism. I don't want one style of agriculture. Most of the farms in America today, defined as farms by the USDA, produce very little food, but they're an important part of rural society. Like 85% of the food that we produce comes from only 8 or 9% of our farms. The others are retirement farms, lifestyle farms, hobby farms, part-time farms, and I'm for all of it. I think it's terrific. But we got to be careful about assuming too much when it comes to new trends. Local food has been heavily promoted now for almost 2 decades. But if you add up all of the farm sales made through farmers markets or roadside stands or pick your own or directly to restaurants, add it all up together, and it's less than 1% of all farm sales. Instead of becoming more local, our food system's still becoming more global. In 1990, only 11% of our food was imported. Now it's 19%.
Some would argue, Bob, that that's bad. They would say, wait a minute, we're becoming so dependent upon other countries, but it does give us an amazing variety, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you want to eat fresh fruits and vegetables in the winter months, you better believe in globalization. The United States now imports half of its fresh fruit consumption. We import 1/3 of our fresh vegetable consumption. I think that's been fantastic for the availability of healthy foods in the marketplace. I wouldn't want to go back to the kind of diet we had before we had access to tropical products and Southern Hemisphere products in the winter months.
Straight talk, resetting the table. Straight talk about the food we grow and eat. I think many folks reading your book will find it refreshing that here's somebody weighing in on the side of common sense and science. And there it is, right there. How do folks find it, Robert?
Well, you can get it on Amazon. It'll be for sale beginning February 2nd. My agent told me I had to make sure to say the title at least 3 times. Instead of doing that, I'm going to hold it up.
I think I will have said it 3 times. If I say it one more time, resetting the table. Straight talk about the food we grow and eat. Thank you, Robert Browerberg. We appreciate it.
Great. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Max. A good topic, certainly something that is being discussed both around dinner tables and in Washington, D.C. Check that out. Find it on Amazon on February 2nd.